It's the Two Gems Podcast.
And we're live.
Nice. Hold on one sec.
Hi, wife.
Hold on one sec.
I'm here. How you doing?
Sorry. Good. How are you?
Pretty good. You want to give me a high five? Start this episode. Everybody, if you're still with us on episode 31, make sure you like and subscribe. It helps.
Your hands still look dirty from all the gardening.
They're stained forever. I can't get rid of it.
Are you having fun as a little gardener now, though?
I don't know. There's something about it. Just getting your hands in the soil and like planting things.
It's funny. Your mom loves to garden, and did she do that her whole life? So did you watch her garden forever?
Oh yeah,
Right.
Big time.
See, my parents never touched the garden. In fact, where we lived, we had like a little, well, you've driven by it, and there was just like tiny little gardens at the front. And my mom would invite her sister, Janice, over to help her because she had no idea what she was really doing.
Yeah.
So gardening to me like doesn't really mean anything because I was never around it. But I feel like you've seen your mom in the dirt so often that like it inspires you to want to do the same thing a little bit.
Yeah.
That's cool.
When I was saying it to Mom yesterday, I was like, a nice garden, like landscaping, can make or break a house. Like you can take a shitty house,
Right.
and landscape it well and elevate the whole thing. You can take a really nice house and have shitty landscaping and ruin the whole thing. Like
You're right.
landscaping is honestly everything. And here's one of the really cool things about it, is that you can't just go buy a nice garden. Like you can't. It takes time. It takes time for the things to mature, and like, sure, you can plant vines, but okay, you know when you go to the Trellis Cafe in Hubbard's, how you're under like a blanket of like grapevines and everything, like that would have taken like, I don't know, like 20 years or something to grow that.
Actually,
like you can't.
or did you make that up?
I made it up, but I mean, it's been growing since I remember,
Right.
so maybe even like 30, 40 years or something. Like you can tell because the wood underneath of it's all rotten and everything, so like it's been there a long time. But that's not something that you can just go down and get your fat wallet out and pay for it. No, you have to do it and take a lifetime of growth. And like, you know, I think as long as we're diligent about planting the seeds for tomorrow, it's going to be amazing out there.
Yeah.
So like it looks clean and nice right now, but in 15 years it's going to be ridiculous when we're selling this house and not even going to be able to enjoy it.
Perfect.
So you look so cute today.
In my pink sweater?
Did you look at your hair in the mirror before we started
Does it
this?
look really-
Well, you got like a thing.
I don't know what to do with it. Who cares? Nobody watches it on here anyway. They all listen. If you see it, oh well.
Oh, you look really cute. I like.
Do you see your... Man, I'm also
No,
conscious.
look at me.
There's that better?
Yeah, it's just like a thing.
I
but it's
know,
okay,
but look. Is that better?
That's probably better.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
We'll leave it out then.
you're beautiful. I'm one lucky man.
Oh, thanks, hon. You're
Very
also
lucky man.
handsome. Even though I didn't stay awake for you last night.
Oh man, I was so sour.
Okay, so first I want to quickly touch on my Instagram, the Instagram rant that we went on last week a little bit, because after the episode, Matt said, and I quote, "I already know I'm going to have to apologize next week." And I said, oh, because I personally felt like Matt and I have these conversations a lot. I was actually just FaceTiming with my mom before I hopped on here, and her and I both kind of agreed that when it comes to my work, rather than Matt just being like my husband that I talk about, he's kind of like my partner in my workspace, which can frustrate me at times because he can speak to me more as a partner versus a husband, I think. And I think last week that's probably what you did. Like you weren't exactly thinking about your wife. You're just thinking from more of a business perspective. And I think also sometimes you get very protective of me and my space, and you care a lot. So I think for you, maybe you were just frustrated. I don't know. Anyway, do you want to talk about it or you don't care?
Oh wow, the way you went right into your coffee after that.
So then I was gonna say that everybody kept responding and saying, I agree with Matt, like Sheridan, and just show up for your community. That's all they want, to see the everyday stuff and whatnot. Matt's like hollering from upstairs. He's like, Sheridan, have you checked the messages? Sheridan, you don't actually and I think you're like, so what I'm saying is valid. Also,
No,
side
I
note,
knew it was valid.
Before I go any further, Ryan Williams,
Yeah.
who, by the way, I was supposed to start a podcast with. Matt replaced him instead.
Yeah. See you later, Ryan.
He loves us very much. He listens every week. He says that he looks forward to it. And then he also said, stop eating the mic. So I guess we
Oh
talk
my
very
God.
close to the mic. Okay, Ryan.
Ryan.
No, but it's a good point. We should probably step back a little bit.
Ryan, at least we have a show, bud.
Matt.
No, me and Ryan and I sat down.
By the way, those will be released. Don't give it away. Anyway, keep going. Never mind.
Ryan and I hung out one time and recorded a really dope episode of something.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
apparently coming one day. Ryan.
Yeah.
No, okay. Okay, when we were done recording, I was like, man, that was a banging episode 30, the last one that we did. And then when I was editing it and listening back, I felt a little bit bad. Like I feel like I came at you really hard. But here's the thing. Nobody knows you as well as I do. So the people that like jump in and hear a 1 hour episode and like a rant that we had together or whatever, or like a 10-minute rant, like they don't understand that you and I have had these conversations. Like if you took the total lapse time of us having this conversation, it's probably been like 100 hours of talking about this.
Right.
Like it's infuriating sometimes. Like we talk about this, it's like beating a dead horse, like over and over. Like holy, like stop being so curated with stuff and just open the doors up. And so, look. Like I think it's really important to be honest with people in life. Like honesty is like the name of the game for me. I think it's so friggin' important. And sometimes the truth hurts a little bit. But I would much rather have those conversations with you, and I think you would with me as well, where you don't always have to sugarcoat everything. Mm-hmm. Like, if you listen back to it, I mean, yeah, maybe it sounded like it may have like hurt your feelings a little bit, maybe, or something like that. Like I did come on a little hard, but like at the end of the day, I don't know. I think you and I are like very honest with one another, and there's not many like hidden things in our lives, and we just kind of lay it out, put our cards on the table. And I think that's the best way to have a relationship with your friends, with your family, or anything. Just freaking tell people. Don't bubble wrap everything that you're trying, like all your sentiments that you're trying to get across. Your Instagram thing and your work annoys me sometimes, but that's okay. It's okay. Like creative lulls happen to everybody. Like sometimes I wish you'd boot me in the ass and be like, Matt, look, you're amazing at what you do. Stop overthinking everything, because I do it all the time. Like that's what creators do.
I'd just like to say, not once did you say I was amazing at what I do.
Okay,
but I see how you wish I said it.
No. You are amazing at what you do. You are so amazing.
You've said it before, obviously. I just mean on last episode.
All I do is jerk you off, verbally jerking you off all the time.
God.
You're the best. You're so beautiful. You're so good. Like I do it all the time.
I know.
It was just like a little bit of like the harsh reality the other day, and like I don't know. I think I need to take my own medicine sometimes. Like we all do it as creators. That's what happens. And like if you're not a creative person, which I don't know. Sometimes I guess I just get in this silo where I just assume that everyone in the world thinks the way that creators do. But I think some people, they're just not creative. They just don't care. They just don't care about that aspect of life. But it's exhausting being creative. It really, truly is. And like, you look around the world and there's all kinds of exhaustive things. Like people that like farmers and shit, where they may not be like very creative, but they're
Physically.
just back-breaking labor and like digging ditches and everything, building the buildings around us and the sewers, like all the extreme things that people do that are just nursing. Like so much respect for nurses and how mentally exhausting it must be to do that job. Like I can't even imagine. But like to people that look from outside of our world that like, oh, Matt gets to sit on his MacBook all day and like make cool things. And like Sheridan has an Instagram. Like, wow, must be nice. Like sometimes I don't think people realize how exhausting it is to be held accountable for your creative mind all the time. Like I never stop. Sometimes people like they'll mess with me and they're like, it's 3:30 in the morning. Like, why are you on your phone? It's like because I can't sleep, because my brain won't shut off, because I have clients expecting good ideas tomorrow morning and I don't have it yet. Mm-hmm. So like I lay there and stress and think, and I'm in the shower, like in the fog in the shower, like drawing ideas on the wall in the mist. Like it never stops. It never ever ever stops. And I'm on a big ass rant right now, but like being creative is mentally exhausting. And
totally
people want you to have good ideas every day, and all the scripts that we write for your clients and all the ideas that Tim and I have, and you have clients breathing down your throat going like you've got 3 days left, like, and you don't have the gold yet. And it's like, I don't know. It's just also exhausting. Like being creative is not some walk in the park.
And you are very creative, and it's very impressive. No, but it's true. I mean, even sometimes when I'm struggling. So for those of you that don't understand, it kind of works like this. I do want to talk about other things today on this podcast, but for example, let's just use Ritz as an example because we just did that campaign.
Yeah.
An agency will reach out to me and ask me if I'm interested in the campaign. I will then forward it on to my manager, who will have a back and forth with them, and then I'll say yes or no, and then she'll send me the contract in the brief. And then with that, I have to come up with a concept for a reel, and usually you have to say whether you're doing a voiceover, what you're gonna say, what your big idea is, and then you also have to give them what you're gonna do for your stories. And all of that is to eliminate a reshoot, obviously. At the beginning when I started Instagram, there was many times where I shot something and I'd have to reshoot it all over again.
Yeah.
Because there was it's actually really smart that they put concepts in, obviously, to stop yourself from having to reshoot anything. It makes sense. But sometimes I'll just draw a blank and I'm like, what should I do with this? And I could do a normal, when I say normal, I mean like an easier route with almost anything. I can make just a cutesy video, do whatever. But the best ideas and the great campaigns usually come from when you sit down and brainstorm and come up with a great idea. Mm-hmm. Matt obviously used Klarna as an example last time. Another really good one was when we did our Dev one. I'm not using Ritz, forget it. I don't care. But I'll use Dev as an example when Matt was like, all your audience knows you're reading smut books right now. Like, this is funny. And it was a great idea and it was executed really well. And that took time to do the voiceover. Like there's just a lot that goes into it. And like anything in anyone's job, you don't really see the back and forth and what happens behind the scenes. You just see the final product, right? So people just see that ad and that's it. Oh, Sheridan's on Instagram. Cool, like you said. But creatively, there's a lot that happens behind the scenes, a lot. And when there's a whole bunch of campaigns that are coming down at me and I have to come up with 6 concepts in like a day and write everything out, and some people even need the caption ahead of time, like it's a lot. And so sometimes I find like my work is just not as great as it could be timing wise. And then Matt, who is great at time management, is kind of always heckling me and assuming that I'm not getting my work done on time. But a lot of times it's just the way, like the name of the game, as you say, and the way that brands all approve at the same time. Everything needs to be shot. Like Caitlin said to me on Friday, things need to be in on Monday. I'm like, no, because as you said, like, I feel like my job, I never stop working either. Never. My brain's always working.
It's always going.
Or like we talked about when I'm posting genuine stuff that still feels like work to me. When Carla was down, my friend Carla was here a couple days ago. I said to her,
is she in the best friend candidate list?
By the way, I saw you post on your hero stuff today. All my best friends. You have like 30.
Oh, yeah,
nice
baby.
try.
Oh, yeah, I'm channeling my inner Sheridan.
Anyway.
Many best friends. It's like a guy there I met one time. Anyway. Literally.
Carla said, we were talking about something, and I said, one thing I really, really regret is never having a maternity leave with either Theodore or Sage. With Kaya, I did, and that's kind of when Instagram started for me. But I was posting an ad in labor. Like, I had a belly.
I remember it.
I was in labor posting that. I was like, I got to get it up. I still have the belly. And then I believe Avino reached out to me when Sage was like a week old, and I took on the campaign. And I'm like, I didn't give myself any rest. I didn't. I just started working right away, and I regret that. I wish I had taken the time because I feel like the stress of work started coming in right away for me, and I didn't just get to kind of like sit there and just enjoy. I mean, of course I did at certain times, but like I was working right after I delivered a baby, Yeah,
I literally watched you in the delivery room posting an ad.
It was ridiculous. And I wish like looking back on that, I'm like, I should have said something. Like I should have, but I should have. And
right.
But you're always so like, get the money, get the da-da-da-da. But I'm like, I should have just been like, no.
Why though? What would have changed about your life?
When I was doing Avino, let's say,
like anything. What trajectory of your life would have changed?
A lot. Postpartum is a lot on
okay.
women. You'll never understand because you never deliver a baby and have a baby come out and you're bleeding and you're emotional and you're bawling your eyes out and everything is just so insane on that 4th trimester. Sometimes I think the 4th trimester is the hardest one. You're adjusting to your new normal, all this stuff. Like it's everything. And then all of a sudden you're working. So I I'm going to stand strong in this and say that, like, I don't think you could quite understand or relate to it because it wasn't you. But from my perspective, I wish that I just took a break and especially got to just sit there and, like, you know, instead of being on my phone working with Sage sleeping in my arms, which I did a lot, I could have just sat there and stared at him instead, you know? And I regret that because I feel like with Kaya, I really, really spent the time with her all the time. We were looking at those old videos and she's with me on my lap. And, you know, I took a lot of time to myself and I didn't do that with the other two. Got anything to say?
Well, I would probably like slightly disagree.
Sure.
I think you get the luxury of working from home, and I think you'd be hard pressed to find a mom that got the opportunity to spend more time with their children than you have.
For sure.
You have it so good. It's incredible. And you did this yourself.
I did.
You did this yourself.
Thank you.
You built an empire where you got to
Empire.
Yeah, man, I would say
I built a community.
No, but you
and
have
I do well
done
for myself.
so well for yourself, and you did it, and you did it in a way that was authentic to you, and honestly, like sometimes I don't even think I take my hat off. Oh my God, I'm gonna end up crying here. Sometimes I don't think I take my hat off enough to like, and I don't even think you take your own hat off enough as to like how well you've done. Like, and you know why you did well? Because in the delivery room you were posting an ad. You've been committed to this all along, for sure. Sheridan, I'm telling you, if I'm just saying, you never stop either. And I think that's so sexy about you.
I know. You love a hardworking woman.
I don't want to see you feet up doing that. Your hustle is amazing.
Okay, so again, you sound kind of douchey right now. You don't want to see me feet up because you just delivered a baby.
No, but Sheridan,
I understand your point.
But like, okay, so like the Dominican episode, 2 episodes ago, when we talk about like what those people do for $1, like they don't get 9 months of mat leave and chilling at home with their baby. No, they got to go. No, I'm just saying, like, Sheridan, just count your lucky blessings that you are where you are today. And you did this all yourself. There's no handouts happening. You did this.
All I'm trying to say is I know I work really hard and I know that I make good money and I'm proud of that. And I just wish I had taken a month and said, hey, Caitlin, I need a month. Let's push my contracts to later because it's always there. I think the problem with my job is I was always thinking, oh my gosh, will another contract come in? Like you just don't know with contract work.
And that's
but at this point, that doesn't happen anymore. I know, unless Instagram disappears and everyone heads over to TikTok or whatever, I know the contracts are coming in. I have a manager that I trust. And if I had a baby right now, if we got pregnant right now, I'm telling you, I would say, Caitlin, I need a month. And that's fine because there'd be other contracts coming in and out. That's cool. I just wish I had done that before. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. I'm going to jump in right now and just quickly say, I didn't mean to say feet up, okay, to all the mums out there. Give me a sec. To all the friggin' mums out there that, yes, you need some time. You need some friggin' time. But just all I'm saying is don't live with regret, Sheridan. Like you've done well and our life is very good. And it's not like you're sitting over here like a broken human now because you didn't take the time that you feel like you may have needed. Like you're doing fantastic and you're smiling every day and life's good. Just be thankful.
No, you're right. I think a lot of times it's just hard for me to differentiate when to take time off because I think in a lot of like government jobs, for example, government jobs, they get 8 weeks or whatever they get, and during that time they're like, I'm on vacation now, right? Yeah. And they close their laptop and they head out and they are not working. They can actually and I don't feel like I ever do that. Ever, except for when we went to Dominican. I said to Caitlin, like, I'm not answering emails, whatever. But again, still posting feels like work to me.
Creatives never shut off. That's what it is.
And I guess it's just something I've had to learn to figure out because I used to always give myself downtime and do whatever. And it's just something that I'm still trying to get used to.
And another thing, I don't think it's just creators that we're speaking about right now. I think it's people with an entrepreneurial mindset don't shut off. They don't shut off. Like it could be some person that like, I don't know, like works at Antonio's down on Argyle Street, and like in their spare time they sell t-shirts or something like that. Their wheels are turning all night long about their next t-shirt design, and like, do they need to modify their Shopify store? Or like, look at Tom down at
Scotia Cycle.
Down at Scotia Cycle down in Hubbard's. I mean, Tom would come over here like summer after summer, like dinner hangout after dinner hangout, and like he would always talk about these ideas that he had, and then finally he took the leap of faith. Like, it's not like he had millions of dollars saved up to do it. He took the leap, and like that was something that kept him up at night. Like, entrepreneurs never shut off. I think but that's what makes us dope.
But I think if I were to wrap it up here, I think what I would say is, you have that mind. You've always had that mind. You'll say you were selling t-shirts in high school, and I didn't always have that mind. In fact, I'm still not sure I do.
I'm just pushing you.
I'm serious, because I think it's definitely in you. You know what I mean? And I don't think it's in me. I think it just kind of ended up falling onto me with my line of work, if that makes sense. Like, I loved writing this whole thing started when I wrote Kaya's birth story down on a blog. I said to you, I want to write it down somewhere. And then I just kind of started writing. I wasn't an entrepreneur being like, oh, I want to work for myself and right? I never had that mindset. So what I'm saying is, I feel like it just kind of fell on me with how things moved forward with social media. And sometimes I'm still like, oh, what? That's it. So anyway, today.
Why were you so excited to record today? We were like, let's do it.
Well, no, I'm not that excited.
Going on over there?
I'm not overly excited. It's just a lot of times Matt and I do come in unscripted, and sometimes we're like, what are we talking? We come around. I'm like, got anything to talk about? And he's like, oh, and we just press record. But we kind of just really go off the cuff, which is fine. I just find sometimes when we have like a bit of a schedule that we end up having a better
itinerary.
Yeah.
So I see you have a big long ass list over there.
Well, so this girl I follow on Instagram, her name's Nina. Her handle is, I'm going to say it wrong, Balkanina, I think. Anyway, she's not Canadian. She's in the States. She's a mid-sized mom, and I just love her. She started a podcast of her own called Mama Knows Podcast, and she was posting something on her stories. I clicked over, and she had had a conversation, I guess, with this woman. I wrote her name down, Dr. Tracy Dalgleish. I'm saying that wrong, too, I'm sure. Nobody listened to the names I just said. They're all wrong. But she posted a link for 100 deeper conversations with your partner. And so I clicked on it, and it's basically just a whole bunch of questions that you can ask your partner. And I was like, oh, this is kind of fun. So I just started writing some of them down, thinking it would be a great conversation starter.
Okay.
So...
Well, you're all timid, huh? Okay.
Well, no, but they're just chats, and it's nothing.
I'm all nervous now.
It's actually nothing crazy. It's just like good, to get conversation going, I think. Okay. So one of them says, what is one of your favorite memories of the first month of us dating? No, trust me. I know Matt's all like, really? This is what's happening?
Well, sometimes you get all formulaic.
No,
it's
but
like,
listen,
I really enjoy...
It's not just that. There's all sorts of different questions, okay? It's not just about like us dating. But for me, if you want me to answer first, one of my favorite memories of the first month of us dating is, like, there's a lot of memories, and I have.
I almost want to say mine at the same time and see if they pop out the same.
Well, what is it?
Should we start talking?
Okay, 1, 2, 3.
Your polka.
I knew what you were gonna say. My polka dot dress.
I'll never forget that little weekend. God, you looked so cute.
I know, and that's when I first started not wearing a bra, folks. I was like, I don't need a bra in this dress.
It was the
my
cannons.
boobs were a little bit perkier.
No, and we went up to the cottage and everything, and I remember like. You know those summer days when there's almost like a haze in the sky? Mm-hmm. It's just like...
It's like thick.
Not in like a polluted way. It's just like, there's just like a look to the sky, and like, it's almost like you're looking through like one of those like 2010 Instagram filters. It just has like a vintagey vibe to the sky and everything. And like, we were driving up to your cottage, and you know that part in the drive when you get to the Quebec side, and there's like those kind of like mountain, like the kind of flat mountains off in the back. I just remember looking over there and seeing the mountains, and I didn't really know where we were going because I hadn't been to your cottage yet. And I looked over, and there was like the rolling hills and the mountains and the wicked sky in the back. Then I looked off to my other side, and see your side boob in that dress, and you just looked so cute and everything. And we went up there and just had a really good time together. It was awesome by the lake and the loons and everything. And
well, I think for you
awesome.
too, Ottawa always feels a little bit nostalgic. So you probably felt extra excited being in Ottawa, and you're like, I like it here. You know? Well, for me, I was going to say that I'll never forget that night that we talked on the phone for hours up, and I go to bed at like 8 p.m. and I've never changed that. I've never swayed. Like I am asleep at 8:30 unless it's like I was back and partying, but like that's my bedtime.
You have a good smut book in your hand.
But like that's my bedtime more often than not. And I had just gone through my super shitty breakup. Matt and I started talking, and we started talking on the phone. I think that's when you called me when you had been out and you brought your charger, because we were texting a lot, and then we started calling. And Matt and I talked for like 5 hours. And I remember my parents, well, at first I think they thought I was crying because I was making a lot of noise in the other room. But as it turns out, they figured out I was laughing. And I remember them both saying, like, who's making Sheridan laugh over there? And I just remember having the biggest smile on my face and thinking it is so nice to smile again. So that is a really special memory to me. Whether you even remember that specific night or not.
I remember.
But I remember lying on Melbourne, just like laughing, you know, and I didn't want the conversation to end.
Yeah, you over there feeding me all the bullshit on the phone. I love Wu-Tang.
No, it was.
I love eating steaks.
No.
just trying to friggin'.
Anyways, a couple white lies never hurt anyone. Okay.
I'm over here on my end, like trying to like gauge how similar we are, because I'm like, this next person I'm gonna be with needs to have like a lot of similarities. I'm like, okay, man, Sheridan's like really into Wu-Tang. It's like, all right. I'm like, oh man, we'll be eating red meat together every night.
I did like steak.
I love spicy food.
Okay,
she never eats my meat. Ever. Hates spicy food. Kind of likes Wu-Tang.
Yeah, she never eats my meat. Okay. Anyways, next question. What is one of the first thoughts that you had about me?
What? Okay, I had a low-key crush on you for a long time. By a long time, I mean about 3 years.
Tell me about it.
No, keeping it a secret. Well, no, it's just like one of those things. Like I had seen you, I don't know how many times, like 5 times in life or something like that.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe like 5-ish or something like that.
Max. Like really not many.
The photo shoot
the photo shoot, Subway randomly when Karen and I were hungover. And then the party.
The party.
That's
and then
it.
there was the other party. There was the original at a hymn boutique. Mm-hmm. So I had seen you like, I don't know, 4 or 5 times. Enough for me to be madly in love with you. No, and you know, you glow, Sheridan. You still do that to this day. Thanks, like I know last episode we were like, you got a little more cushion for the pushing and all that stuff. You glow. You have an energy to you, and that's what's dope about you. And you always did. Like even all the way. What was the question? What am I talking about?
What is one of the first thoughts that you had about me that you were?
So I mean, like,
you were mad in love with me.
But my first thoughts were like, oh my God, it sounds so bad. But like I was in another relationship, and like, so like you were just like a distant, like, hey, she's beautiful human being.
Okay, that works. My first thought about you was when you walked into the photo shoot, and I said to Jesse, "Who is that guy with all the tattoos?" And for some reason, I also like sort of had a crush on you, which made no sense because I'd never really seen you around or anything. And then Jesse said, well, he's married with a child, which was obviously a miscommunication, but we thought that Aiden was yours and that you were married. And that was the end of that. But I always, every time I saw you, I was like, what a little cutie. I remember thinking that specifically.
Aw.
I don't think the question was
now we have 3 kids and a dog.
Yeah. I don't
Lloyd
think... boy. I don't think it was about that you had about me. I think it was when you start dating, but whatever. That works. What is one trait about me that you really admire?
Oh, that's an easy one. Is this episode all formulaic? God, sometimes I don't know about the question ones.
Matt, it's going great.
Okay, let's let it flow a little more.
Okay, what is one trait about me? Does that feel more flowy?
Ooh, well.
That you really admire.
It's your nipple size. No, I'm just kidding. It's oh my God. It's definitely like your carefree nature of things in life. No, it is.
It's also his least favorite trait.
No. I didn't. You know what I mean. Though it's like, I don't know, man. Sometimes it's just like, I'm in my own head all the time. I'm just like, it's just about everything going on in the world all the time and everything. And like, it's just, yeah. Anyway, that could be a whole thing in its own. But I just like, I don't know, just like I worry about things and stuff probably more than is like even a healthy amount. Just the world. And then like, I look over at you and you're like, what? like,
Nice.
What? And like, just like you're
nice. You worded that perfectly.
No, but
like,
what? But I love that about you. I do. Sometimes I wish that we could like talk about.
Matt, this is the one trait. Somehow you're turning into something.
No,
but I actually wish.
No, but it really is the fact that like you. It's bigger than just the not caring about like political stuff. It's more your ability to just go with the wind in life. Like that. Like just the fact that like this weekend on Saturday morning you find out I'm bringing both the boys with me. And it's not like you're like, why would you ever say
leave them here?
I want to listen to them fight all day here. No, but like, and you're just like, oh, okay. Like, just like the wind, you just go with the flow on everything. And I think that that's an important thing. Like as I know you and your mom, I always make the joke. It's like you and your mom already know like September of 2024, like she's like you, but like you also at the same time just kind of go with the flow and stuff. And I think I do too. And I like that about us. Yeah. That like I could tell you right now, it's like, you want to go to a hotel tomorrow with the kids and go hit the water slides all day, and you'd be like, sure.
Yeah, we'll drop
get a pizza. Yeah. We just kind of roll with it, and I like that.
And you know what? I actually think that's really important in a partner. I think you can have like a little bit different sides, but I think, if you're with somebody that's like super regimented and routine and all this, you kind of have to be that way too, or else it's going to cause an issue, I think, between your relationship. I mean, like you and I, do have that similarity in us, and I think that it does make it easier, because imagine if you were like, hey, Sharon, let's go to a hotel. I'd be like, are you out of your mind? Like, why would we do that? It's a school day, right? But I would never say that. I'd be like, great idea, let's hit up the slide.
Let's roll. Yeah,
and so I think that that's really important, to have at least a similar like idea with how you want to have your relationship.
I don't even know if you consciously realize it's happening, but so how I'm always over here like, you have one life to live, like, tomorrow's not promised, that kind of thing. I think you're doing it without even realize you're doing it. You also pack your days with as much life as you possibly can. You just don't really like vocalize it like I do. But like that's what I think is awesome about us, is we're not just sitting around like, hey, some people want to sit around. Some people love sitting around. Yeah. I'm not a sitting around kind of guy. I just can't do it.
Right.
Like I just can't. I just want to pack my time on this rock floating around the sun with like awesome shit every day. Every day.
That's one thing I admire about you, if that's the question, is definitely your enthusiasm. Enthusiasm and zest for life, which you certainly have. And you're right. I mean, I pick on you because you come and you have a nap maybe for like 5 minutes on the couch, but you're never lying on the nap. You're never lying on the couch having a nap. It's just not who you are. And I admire that a lot. And I mean, I could talk about what I admire about you forever, but
please do. Oh my goodness.
No, I mean, naturally, as you are the father of my children, I kind of gravitate towards that. I think because it's so important to me, and it's always been so important to me, parenting and stuff. And my goal when I was younger and thinking about a partner was thinking always, like, it's funny, I would even look past like shitty boyfriends and be like, but what would be like as a dad? Like, I was always focused on that. Like, I'd push past like, okay, we don't get along in this aspect. Like, what about parenting? And so I care a lot about that. And you exceed any expectation that I ever had as a father. And that's just so amazing for me, because I mean, you're a great dad, and like and I think a lot too about our children now, and how they're going to grow up and they're going to realize that our parents are just people. And we've realized that now, our parents are just people. And I think that they're going to grow up thinking that, their father's an amazing man, and that really matters to me a lot.
Yeah.
And I think we're doing a great job. I mean, we're not perfect. Nobody's perfect. We all have our moments. But I think, you know, they're going to remember all the days that you take them out and that you play with them and that you bathe them and, you know, you do everything with them. And that's absolutely something I admire. It's more than I would have ever even expected when it came to my partner, really. And that's probably my favorite thing, one of my favorite things about you, seriously. Are you crying? Okay, I need to give Matt more words of affirmation, folks.
Why am I crying?
Well, you know, I think
I love our kids so much.
But I think for you too, like, and we definitely don't divulge like all of our past and our childhood and stuff, because I think there's like a proper limit to kind of keep things respectful. Is respectable a word? Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, it's not. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you'd say like you're a very respectable person.
Yeah, you're right. We keep things respectful, but I think that you were able to take whatever you went through as a child on both spectrums, having your biological father and your stepdad, and just take as most, I would hope our children do the same thing. Take the shitty stuff and say that's not happening and focus on the good things and be better. And that's exactly what you did. And you should be really proud of yourself for that. Seriously.
What is this episode? Incredible.
No, but it's
I
true,
appreciate
Matt.
that, Sheridan.
And I really mean that, because, you know, you didn't have, I mean, I think all kids in their eyes, unless they had an absolutely horrible childhood, can usually pick out the good moments and think they had an amazing childhood. And that's what you would say, because you do say that, and that, you know, everything that you went through kind of formed who you are today. Not to say you had to go through it, but I think that, well, I don't know what you did, but all of a sudden you just realized, like, I'm going to be an incredible dad. And you did the same thing with Aiden too. And I don't know if it was always in you. I mean, you're also the oldest. And I think that your mom has also depended on you a lot with what she was going through. And you two were always very close. So I think you've kind of always had that sort of in you, you know?
Yeah.
And then, yeah, I mean, half the time I look at you and I'm like, oh, well, at least Matt's a good parent, because I'm like, oh, my God, I've had enough. No, but a lot of times, like, you know, you come through when I'm not there.
Well, you do that when I need it, man.
I know.
Those days when you pull out with the kids in the evening and, like, give me a few hours, like, I'm pretty much at my wits' end. Like,
no, and I can
I'm
tell.
gassed,
and I
like,
can tell because you and I are very different. I think our kids are going to grow up and we're very similar, but in terms of Matt's excitedness and what I'm talking about with the joie de vivre, you have that and you express it. So when the kids come home, like, hey, kids, how was your day? Like, you know, body slamming them into the couch, whatever it is. And
extreme violence as soon as they get home.
I'm just kind of silently getting the snacks ready, emptying the lunch bags, like giving them a hug. You know what I mean? Like the love is the same. It's just being portrayed differently. So I think your kids are always going to grow up and think that dad was the fun one that was always there, which is so nice because you work from home and that's great. And you're there when your kids come home and, you know, you give them the time of day and stuff. And yeah, I mean, that's a bit of lots of rights here today, but.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly, I don't really know what I could add to that other than, like, you know, I think, I don't know.
Sorry, I'm interjecting, but not everybody, people become parents, but I'm not sure everybody really actually wants it as bad as some, you know? And I think that that's okay. Like, some people want to have kids, but then some people really want to have kids and really love their kids. And I think you're a perfect demonstration of that. Like, you really love your kids so much.
I honestly can't really talk about them without bawling my eyes out. It's really hard. Like, oh man, I could go on about this for a long time, but I just think that, like, hopefully this doesn't come across the wrong way, but, like, if you're not ready to give your kids everything, then don't have kids. And see, that's the hard part is, like, you know, people turn 16, 17, 18 and their sex drive is through the freaking roof and all they want to do is just bang all day. I mean, that's all any of us are thinking about coming out of high school. And
Matt specifically.
No, and, like, but the repercussions of that are that you're creating humans if you're not careful. And I think a lot of people may, like, slip into having kids without really, like, thinking through the magnitude of it, like understanding that you have decided if you are a good parent, you owe your life to these kids. Like, that's what it is. You have to sacrifice everything for your children. That's what it is. And you owe it to them. You created them. You brought them into this world. You need to keep them financially stable. You need to look after them, provide them with love and caring. And like you owe it on a grander scale, you owe it to the world to bring good humans into this world that like are empathetic and compassionate. And like, I think that, when you look around the whole world, but probably North America in general right now, there's just so much crazy shit and so much violence and like, and all these like misguided youth and everything and school shootings and all this shit. It's just like they probably didn't really grow up in a great house. Because if you grew up in a great house of good loving parents that looked out for you and had your best interests in mind, you'd be less probable for sure. You'd be okay, sure. There's probably some like small percentage of people that like, they're chemically imbalanced and whatever. But like, I don't know, like, I pride myself on looking after my children. Like I brought them into this world and I will, until I take my last breath, that's what I will do. Mm-hmm. Be there for them. And like, I just don't understand how people aren't. I don't know. I love my kids so much. And it like, shows. All of them.
I know.
All three of them for so many different reasons. Like, oh my God. Freaking love our kids. They really are. They're my best friends. And I know you're like, keep it separate and all that. But they just are. Like Theodore, like when I put that Instagram story up there this morning, just said like this kid's energy is like my biggest inspiration. It really is. I'm not just saying that for some likes on Instagram. He really is. Theodore's, I see myself in Theo. He's just a mini me. Him waking up in the morning, like I was outside having a coffee this morning at like, I don't know, like let's say 7:15 or something, just kind of like taking in the fresh air and the birds going by and everything, and then all of a sudden I hear
What was it?
I hear the sliding door open up, and my first reaction is like I just take a deep gulp of my coffee. I'm like, for God's sakes, here we go, it's on. And then Theodore jumps over and sits down 1 inch from my butt and starts asking me questions. He's like, "So, Dad, is that where my vegetable garden's going?" "So, Dad, why are you bald?" It's like 7:15, and Theodore's asked me about why my hairline receded, and I'm like, oh my God! But that excitement and interest in life is what makes kids frigging awesome. And I think if more adults attempted to bring out their inner child that they lost one day, the world would be a better place.
I agree with that.
And that's that.
Well, what I was going to say about Theodore is that I posted a story that he was at Walmart yesterday and we picked out our stuff. And of course, there's these like guys that are grabbing Hot Wheels, like little cars, and they're our age, like they're older. So Theo's like, "What are you doing?" And they're like, "Well," and he's like, "Well, why?" And he's standing there for 5 minutes and I'm just waiting 10 feet away and I'm like, oh, okay. And then I go grab him, But he wants to have a conversation with every single person. And when I posted that, everyone goes, "Is he just a mini Matt?" And I was like, literally 100%. But it's sweet, right? And like, to me, I'm thinking, oh, maybe they find him annoying because we have Theo around us all the time and at times we get annoyed. But then I think to myself, like if I was a random stranger in Walmart and Theo came up to talk to me, I'd be glad to talk to him,
Oh, yeah.
Of course I would. So anyway, I find that funny because you're talking about Theo and I'm saying, well, everyone thinks that you guys are so similar. I'm looking forward to seeing what type of human he becomes when he's older.
Well, like you're looking at him. I guarantee it. I guarantee that's why I know he'll be okay. Yeah. I guarantee it.
Okay.
Because his work ethic is incredible. All he wants to do is help. He talks to strangers and everybody and everything. And so that's going to make him a very desirable person to be around.
Yeah.
He's a friggin' stud. Oh my God, he's so handsome.
Okay, move on to the next question. What feelings do you have about our home? If you could change anything, what would it be? I thought
like our house or our home?
What do you mean? It's the same thing.
Well, the house is like the structure. The home is like the energy, isn't it?
Okay, well, I'm going to say house because I thought, this is a good question since Matt and I were having a conversation about it outside yesterday.
Say the question again.
What feelings do you have about our home?
Okay.
If you could change anything, what would it be? So let's just make that sound like it's the house, not the home environment. This is our specific house that we live in. Go ahead, Matt.
Well, you answer it first. I don't know. Let me think about it for a second.
Matt, Yesterday, you told me you wanted to move and live on 100 acres of land and pack up and leave and start fresh. So I'd say that's a pretty big change. And I think you mean it.
For sure. I think here. Oh my God, it gets so worldly, but I just like really think about the world and the state of everything.
Right.
And the idea of having 100 acres is very appealing to me. I don't want to get that.
I mean,
deep
if
into
it's
it.
the end of the world, wouldn't people come and ravage your land anyway?
No, but I just mean like, so we bought this. We're on 1.8 acres in the forest.
I don't think we need to talk numbers in case we do sell it.
No, but it's we live in the forest here, and like basically we bought this house 7 years ago. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
And it's amazing. I honestly think we lucked out a little bit. I think we like on a whim thought it was a cool house, and then there was so many like factors that we didn't think about that just kind of like serendipitously just worked out and ended up being incredible, and like we kind of like morphed into like we adapted into this life that we kind of just threw ourselves at. And it's been amazing. But sometimes I wonder, have we outgrown this space a little bit? It'll be interesting to see when like Theodore's 13 and Kai is 15 and like, they've got girlfriends and boyfriends and things going on. Like, where are they going to go and everything? Like, and then like out on the land, it's like with this, now that I've got a green thumb and I'm like I love the idea of like growing tomatoes and cucumbers and jalapenos and like having things growing everywhere in the yard and like maybe having some chickens eating up the damn ticks in our friggin' yard and everything. And it's like, there's not a ton of space here. And people are going to be like, you got almost 2 acres. Our land here is like, we're in Heyyy and it's a lot of granite. So like everywhere you go is just freaking granite everywhere. Like you try and dig a hole anywhere in our yard, you'll get through like 3 inches of soil and smash into a rock.
Yeah.
And there's just like probably a good acre of our land is completely unusable. It's just like absolutely catastrophic amounts of boulders and rocks and everything. Like, so I really like the idea of like getting into a place where there's 100 acres and like hypothetically if everything goes crazy in the next 20 years, it's like we could build like tiny homes in the back of the land, like way at the back, and the kids could like hypothetically like have like 5 acres of themselves and grow their family there and whatever. And just like, I really just want a big ass 4-wheeling trail on my own piece of land, if I'm being honest with you. What do you think?
For me, the idea, like I love that our children have a school that they love. And even Kai yesterday, she's like, I love my school. They have friends. We are close enough to Bears Lake. We're close enough up to Tantalon, but we're still kind of out. We have our beach. We have a bunch of trails here. And, I'm not sure if you guys know this or not, but when I was like 33 weeks pregnant with Sage, Matt was trying to sell the house on a whim and move to where?
By Brookside.
There was like a property on the water.
It's on McGrath Lake.
Yeah, and I was like, let's do it. And it's funny because usually I am one to just be like, let's do it, But I was so pregnant that I was like, absolutely not. And I thought long and hard about it. And I was like, I love where we live. And I really do. Like, I love everything about our house, our location. I think that I did make a bit of a sacrifice. Like you said, we had no idea where we were moving. We kind of just jumped into it because the house was cool. You obviously were more familiar with the area. I really wasn't at all. And I grew up in a subdivision. And I personally, from experience, loved that because I would go outside and there'd be kids everywhere playing and my parents could let me run around. And, it was just a crescent, so it was never busy. And I always envisioned that for my children growing up. And I figured that's what it would be. They'd be playing in the backyard, running back and forth. We don't have that with our kids. And I feel kind of sorry for them in that instance. Not that they'll ever know because they didn't experience it, but I did to know that it was awesome.
Same.
So I feel like we kind of blew it on that a little bit. Had I known and like been more of like a mom at the time, because Kaya was just still a baby, I would have looked for something on a crescent or whatever, even if it was on the lake and you had all the yard down by the water, I would have looked for an opportunity for that. So I feel like I kind of already made a little bit of a sacrifice by coming out this far when I'm used to living in the suburbs. And that's what I thought I would grow up with for my children. And then you're like, oh yeah, let's move to 100 acres of land. And I said, well, where's that happening? And you're like, well, Wentworth isn't too far. I'm like, that's an hour.
No, Wentworth's not my ideal spot.
So where's your ideal spot?
It's less about like, it's less about the name of the town it sits in and more about.
But how far away is it?
It's anywhere where there's a giant river that runs like down the side of the property, and the trees are like, they look a certain way.
Well, I just don't think you're going to find that anywhere close by. And
you're not going to find it close by.
But here's the thing. Why does it have to be now? Why can't it be, as we discussed, when the kids get older?
I think strategically, if we were thinking strategically, now would be the time to do it. Mm-hmm. And I could give you 100 reasons why. No problem at all.
But imagine, like, as a parent, for me, my goal is for my children to have a great childhood, right? Mm-hmm. I know. I'm just talking about I'm not saying you're not. I'm just saying for me. And I'm like, everything's great right now for them.
Yeah.
And their friends are close by. So, like, we're just going to.
Their friends aren't close by.
Every
enough. Single friend they have requires a drive. They don't have anyone other than Eve, but we don't see Eve.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying.
She lives no sense.
She lives 2 houses up the street.
They could literally do the old, like, 2 cups in a string phone method, and they don't. Like,
and I bet you it's because of the way our street's laid out. Cars go 1,000 miles an hour, and, like, it's just not safe. Like, I wouldn't even be like, Kaya, walk up the street. Like,
no, I would not let our kids on that road.
And it's so close. So, anyway, I don't know. Like, beep, boop. If you were to find a property that's still close, that I don't feel like I'm far away, I would have no problem building a new home and like restarting. But like, I'd still want the kids to go to the same school. Like,
they won't. There's no 100 acres sitting in Tantallon, Sheridan.
Why can't it be 50? Like 100's so outrageous.
Yeah, you gotta go outrageous. I'm telling you.
I don't know, hon. That's a tough one. But it sounds to me like you're really thinking about it. And I'm not at all. So now I'm a little bit concerned, like straight up, I'm a little bit concerned that it's going to come to this fork in the road.
What's going to happen is we're just going to buy the 100 acres.
And just have it.
Okay. There was a property in Muscatawbit the other day that was...
That's so far.
Sheridan, Muscatawbit's not even far at all. It's like 45 minutes the other direction. It's not even far at all. It's by Dollar Lake. How long does it take us to get to Dollar Lake?
I just went there yesterday. About an hour to get there from here.
Where'd you go?
I went up past Dollar Lake to get the photo shoot.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I went up that way. And I was like, I've never been out here before. And it seemed so...
So you passed the airport on the left and everything and like drove out there?
Yeah, I drove up the long like guys. And Theo's like, this is where we just went. So I don't know if we were close to each other or wherever you went four-wheeling with them. But as I was driving, there was farms everywhere and lots of land. And I was thinking, man, this is far away from everything. It really is.
Think about the aesthetic of your Instagram
but
feed,
I think you'd miss...
To be a homesteader?
I think you'd miss it more than you think.
Yeah.
You would. You wouldn't have people just popping in. Like, you love having company. That's Matt's saying. He wants everybody out by the backyard this summer. People aren't going to do that.
No, I know. It's more of like a strategic thing. I just okay. So like one of the big things for me is like you can pick up any globe, go on Google Earth and just look at the middle of the world right now. Mm-hmm. Just look at the middle of Earth.
Okay.
It's like with climate change and everything happening, the middle of the Earth is just getting scorched right now. Like you can see it, it's drying up. The water's disappearing, and it's basically like a desert forming. Like you can see it along the middle of the world. And so like what's going to happen is everyone's going to start migrating north. They're going to have to. Everyone's going to have to start coming up. Everybody is going to have to. People are going to start migrating in masses. And we know this. Like ocean levels are rising, tornadoes and hurricanes, all shit, and everything's drying up, and people are going to have to start coming north. They're going to be coming into like along like Russia and Canada and starting to migrate up. We're seeing it all the time, and we're bringing in so many migrants in Nova Scotia now. I think we brought in 20,000 people. 20,000 people immigrated to Nova Scotia in the last year and a bit. Think about that. Think about when that number's like 100,000 people migrated here last year. Where do you think they're going to go?
Okay,
Sheridan?
so maybe
getting 100 acres and you got like a fortress that's like yours, and your family can start like, look at the price of homes now. Where are our children going to live in 15 years? Where are they going to be able to buy a house when a duplex in the hood is $2 million? Like, it's absolutely absurd. It happened in Vancouver. It happened in Toronto, where the price of shit got so high that the people living there couldn't even live there anymore. Like, look at the price of our home now if we put it on the market today. It's absurd. So you buy the 100 acres, and then you have it. And then you have a giant parcel of land that, like...
So I'll meet in the middle, and if you'd like to buy land, absolutely, let's do it. And then at least you know that we have it. And if things start to get absolutely out of control and we feel a certain way, we have the land there. But I don't think your mentality should be, let's sell, move everything, and get out of here and go build somewhere and start fresh with kids, school, everything. Just buy the land. Baby steps, son.
Just go with the wind, baby.
Okay, next question. When was the last time you cried in front of someone?
About 3 minutes ago. Oh my God. I'm a super emotional person anyway.
Yeah.
I'm high highs and low lows. I just kind of go with it. So I cried in front of you, like 4 minutes ago, something like that?
When was the last time you cried in front of someone? For me, I think that was Theo. Matt, I cry.
you have no emotions.
Yes, I do. I was having a hard time, and as I've said before, I very much show my children my emotions. I think it is extremely important. I want them to know that mom cries, mom has hard days, mom has great days. Like, that's cool. I want them to see me as a human versus just like a mom that is stable all the time, right? And I was having a hard time. I forget what was happening. Something with Theodore was upsetting me, and I was in the kitchen, and he came over, and he saw me, and I was just like, you were outside. You didn't even know what happened, and I was just bawling my eyes out, and he came over.
Wait, hold on. Why? When was this?
I don't even remember, but I was just frustrated about something.
It was in 2019.
No, it's just, Theo was a baby, and he looked at me. No,
Theo was with us in utero.
No, it was just a couple weeks ago, and I just cried, and he said, "Are you okay?" I said, "I'm just having a hard time," and that was it. And we hugged, and then it also has a follow up with, when did you cry by yourself? Can you think of a moment where you like had a breakdown by yourself?
Yep.
And when was that?
Yep,
all the time.
No. Well, you know what it is it's Quake's song about Pat.
Yeah.
Man, I can't listen to that song without bawling my eyes out. Whether I'm alone, whatever. Like, I've cried every time that song plays. I cry, and I've probably listened to it 20 times. So like a lot of crying.
Yeah, I cried to that song too.
Oh man.
Just thinking about it right now will make me cry, actually. So
everyone listen right now. You should go on Apple Music or Spotify, whatever you have. Listen to the song by Quake Matthews. Daddy is a legend.
Yeah, it's
incredible.
An amazing song, and I really like the way that he told it, because there's been a lot of incredible tributes made to Pat about him being an artist and really everything, and people that looked up to him. But I loved the way that Quake kind of spoke to both Calvin and Alora, and I think it's really special. And I think they'll always have that to listen to, and I think as parents you can especially relate. And for me, that's my favorite song that I've heard for Pat and his family.
Oh, for sure, without a doubt, it's not even a question.
It's not even a question.
So he delegated the first verse to, speaking of Calvin, and then the second verse is to Alora, and then it ends on this little monologue from Pat.
Yeah,
oh my God,
it's really, really special.
It's heavy. How about you? When was the last time you cried by yourself? Okay, when was the last time you cried on the phone with your mom?
I'm trying to think of the last time I cried by myself. Matt's like, well, every day I cry by myself. I honestly can't think on it. If I think of it during this episode, I'll come back to it. But
you realize we've been talking for an hour. I don't know how long you want to go here, but
what? Okay, let me
get anything juicy there.
When
was the last time you touched your peen?
But Matt, this has been good so far.
I like it. Holy moly, look at all the questions you have.
Oh, I know, it's bananas.
Okay, what's something you really want to know?
Okay.
What do the people want to know?
Hold on. Don't say that. What is something that someone said to you once that plays on repeat in your mind?
Oh my God, have you thought about this already?
Well, I have mine, so I can say it. And for me, because I was writing these questions down because there's 100 and I only like picked a couple. And when I saw this one, I was like, I bet you Matt could think of like something that someone told him that meant something to him. But for me, the biggest thing that I've probably actually taken and listened to it and thought about it a lot is when my mom once told me that marriage is work. And I'm serious, because I remember I was like 14 or whatever I was, and we were talking about, that's cold now, and we were talking about, marriage, and she said to me, marriage is a lot of work. And I said to her, what? You're just in love. Aren't you happy and life is great? What do you mean it's work? I was truly flabbergasted that she told me at that young age that marriage was work, because when I think work, I associated it with like going into work and stuff like that. And to this day, I still take that with me, and I'm like, she was 100% right. Marriage is so much work.
For sure it is.
And it's not necessarily a bad thing. Like I think the word work might have a negative connotation to it, but I don't think that's the case. It's just like constantly having to work at your relationship to make it, to nurture it, and for you to feel all sorts of good feelings with your partner, and like you just go through everything in a marriage. Why are you smiling? So all I'm saying is that for me, I took that and I think about it still, and I'm like, okay, so even if Matt and I are going through this and whatever, it's work. It's just normal. That's what marriage is, and that's okay. That's my thing.
So, like, do you feel like you've been working on us, or like straight up? Do you? Like, do you honestly feel like you work on our relationship?
I think there's a lot of times that I put work in, whether you realize it or not.
Give me any form of example. I'm just curious. You
don't think I work on our relationship at all?
I think there's some stuff you do. But what is it? What do you do? Like, what kind of work do you put into our relationship?
It's more so like I have to make an effort. I'm serious.
I have mentally decided I will stay with you through all the bullshit.
No, but like, for example, if I come, we've talked about this with our love languages. If I come up and I like give you a kiss or a hug or whatever, like and the word work sounds negative, right?
Sure.
But it's not.
You haven't given me a hug that you instigated.
That's not true.
In 9 years.
That's not true. Just the other day, I came up and
Oh my God.
I love you.
You are so unaffectionate.
Oh my God. Touch my feet under the table.
It doesn't mean I don't love you. I think you're trying to play footsies over here now. I think you
work in every way though, Matt. Like when you become a parent. I'm not joking. When you have responsibilities, when you have to do shit, you have to do laundry, you have to cook dinner.
Babe, I'm just poking fun.
I'm just saying, there's so much. Appointments, like just being an adult is a lot of work. Add a partner into it and somebody that you have to do life with, it's work.
For sure.
Yeah.
Life is work.
So that, yeah.
But I think when someone says that marriage is work, it's not referring to doing the dishes. That's just like life responsibilities.
No, but it's not. You're right, but the work and part of that is not feeling resentful if they're not doing the dishes or not. That's
a good flip on it.
There's still work to be done.
Yeah, you're right.
Anyway, do you have something that somebody said to you?
No, I'm not done with you yet. But no, I just think every person listening, like, really think to yourself, because I think that's really interesting. Like, really actually think to yourself. Mm-hmm. You're not even listening. You're over there reading your next question. No. Turn your phone off. We'll get to it. Okay. We're going to wrap up on this.
Oh, okay.
Or not. Really, like, think to yourself as a listener right now, like, do you work on your relationship? Or do you just turn a blind eye to everything that your man wants? And I'm saying man because only women listen, except Shane. Out the woods, baby.
And Antoine.
Man, this weekend was so good. Oh, and Antoine. I know. And my dad.
And my dad.
And Petey. We have 4 men.
Yeah.
Do you actually put work in? Like, think to yourself, do you? Or do you just kind of just like float through life and actually do nothing that would be like a sacrifice, or like just anything outside of like your path of least resistance to actually like enrich your partner's life or like see things from their perspective? Like just throwing it out there.
Yeah.
Like I'm trying to think if I do or not. I do. I think
For
you say acts of service, buddy. My services never stop.
But you're doing the garden for you, hon. I'm serious. How long have I asked you to put a door on the guest room door and you haven't done it?
That's hard ass work, though.
No, but I'm saying for you,
Man, I don't wanna
you
sit
might
with a
think you're
chisel
doing
and-
an act of service, but a lot of it is for your happiness as well.
Jordan, you like a good house. You
I
like
know,
a
but-
good house. This house is good because I never, ever, 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 ever stop
Right.
working.
So I just want to say something because you're going to turn around, I imagine, and say that you put in the work with marriage and that you're doing it all right.
No.
No, but what I'm going to say is that
Not at all.
I do think it's important to go back to your love languages and to understand you might think you're putting in the work on your end, but what your partner wants is something totally different, maybe. So for example, I think you know me well enough to know the things that I like. A minute alone, a surprise date, you know what I mean? Like things like that. And for me and for you, it's like I know what you like, which is love and affection, quality time. You want me to tell you how handsome I think you are?
Oh my God, you always say that. I don't give a fuck about that.
No, but
I just want you to care.
Matt,
like
I
last,
do
care.
care.
Like last night, I'm literally out there bleeding, like made a garden for our family and everything, and you came in, and I could hear you inside.
I'm so
dinking
glad.
around, dinking around. I hear you in there, taps on and walking around, and like.
I am so glad you brought this up.
No, and it's like to me, the first thing. What do you mean, no? You're interrupting me. You should have came home, slid that back door open, looked outside, and been like, "Hey, hon," maybe a hug and a kiss, something like that, and been like, "Wow." Mm-hmm. All those rocks you carried and your spine all misaligned now and everything from fucking hell. Like instead you're in there like dinking around getting Lloyd a bone and like.
So.
What are you gonna
I
say?
hear
You know.
No,
I will say it for you. You know my love language.
No.
And you know that.
No.
You know I need a clean kitchen.
Your feelings are valid. You're right.
Oh my God! Just come in the backyard and tell me it looks good.
For
Give me a
sure.
fucking hug.
100%, Matt. But what I'm trying to say is that you also, as far as marriage being work, take me seriously. I'll wait. No, I'll wait. This is no problem. If we're wrapping it up on this, I will wait. Because I am really glad you brought this up. So for everyone listening, Matt, as he said, has been working really hard on the garden outside. Okay. And he did it all day with his mom. And and they've been working. I went out for a photo shoot with the kids. That's a whole other story anyway. I come home. I'd been gone for like 4 or 5 hours. And I came in and I knew when I had left the house that there were things that were going to give me a hard time when I came home. And when I say that, I mean dishes out of place. Things, I am so particular with things. I've been like that for a long time. Matt knows that about me. So I came inside and I had to, for my brain to settle down and for me to calm down. In my mind, I was thinking, I'm going to clean all of this up and then I'll go outside and I'll pay attention to Matt and tell him how great of a job he's done. Instead, as I was cleaning, Matt came in and gave me a look like, you're not going to come out and look at the garden. And I just, no, but let me keep going.
The one thing I just want to say is that I think it's worth noting that the kitchen area of our house that Sheridan's talking about is like literally like the only thing separated from where I was standing was a pane of glass.
You're
like
right.
I can see
You're right.
you not caring.
For sure, but it's not that I don't care.
It's not like you're on the other side of the house
No,
and
but
it's
Matt,
like I'm looking at your silhouette going by.
I
I'm like,
know,
oh my God.
But I want you to have a better understanding of my brain because you think I'm doing it on purpose. No, I'm serious because you think I'm.
But see,
this
this is the work thing, though.
That's what
you need
I'm getting
on
to.
Giving a shit.
Hun, that's the point. Who needs to work on giving a shit?
You do.
But I'm trying to explain to you.
This would be the work thing. It would be the stepping out of like, instead of putting your things first, just peek outside and go,
it's not
wow,
that simple.
hun.
It's not that simple.
Man.
It's not that simple. And for you to, and I want you to understand mental health and things like that and be like, yeah.
You're right, I'm wrong.
No, but I'm just trying to make you understand because it's not like I'm just like, fuck Matt in his stupid garden. Like, it's not like I did that. I came in and I was like, wow, Matt's been working so hard. I know he has, but I have to do this for myself or I'm going to lose it. And instead, when you came in, I said, yeah, I'm going to come right out. I'm just hiding some things up. And it just threw you off. You were pissed. Yes, you were.
Yes,
you
I walked in, it took 2 seconds. I was like, are you going to come outside or?
Right.
Was that? And then Hannah laughed, and you barely even got to see her or anything. It was like, I don't know, you could have stepped in the backyard. Anyway, let's move along. What?
No, but I don't want to move along, and that's okay. I'm just trying to make, because it's a perfect example of how I think marriage is work, and how I think you need to work on listening to your partner and how to make things better. So I'm saying, I hear your feelings, and I know they're valid, and I bet you wish that I came inside and opened the fucking door and said, oh my God, what a great job. This looks amazing. And I'm sorry that I couldn't do that for you. And I'm saying, hopefully you can understand that I came in, I had to do those things, and I had full intentions of coming out and admiring your great garden. That's all.
Sometimes it's less about the garden and more about like you're standing in the backyard. Mom and I were out there like sweating all day doing this thing, and my sister's over, and she was only going to be over for a few minutes.
I didn't know that.
And then you must have, because you would have seen her car at the bottom of the driveway. So you're full of shit. So
I thought she parked at the bottom just because she wanted me to come up. I didn't know she was only around.
Oh, I thought you meant you didn't know she was here. I was like, sure, and you drove by her car.
No, I knew she was there.
So then I was just, it can kind of like come across like a little cold and callous sometimes. Sure. I think you can do that sometimes just by like your way of not really being around the people when things are going on. Mm-hmm. So like here we are out in the backyard, like having like a little sash and like having a cold stream and like taking it all in, and like your silhouette moving around the house, not saying hi to anyone, just feels like kind of cold sometimes.
But I had full intentions of coming out.
I'm just telling you how it feels. And no one else said that. That's not my sister going, man, what a cold vibe. It's just how I felt. That like it felt.
But I think you're the only one that feels that way.
Okay.
Your mom saw me coming back in today and rearranging the shoes, and she giggled because she knows how I am. She knows that kitchen would have pissed me off.
Your teeth look really nice.
I had to try to change it.
No, you know what they said to me when we were recording yesterday? What? They were like, "You're the guy." It's like, "Oh, look, a chipmunk." Or is this like a joke? Is this like a thing?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Hey, look, a squirrel. Or something like that. Apparently, like I'm really scatterbrained about stuff. I was just looking at your teeth. I'm like, man, they're perfect.
I know. Can't wait to get my line off.
Man, something that someone said to me. So there's an old Nos song with AZ in it. I forget what song is it. I can like play it in my head. I just don't remember the name of it. Mm-hmm. But he goes at the start on like the little monologue before the song kicks off. He says, "If somebody wrote a book on your life, would anyone want to read it?" Mm. And I'll never forget it. It honestly, when I heard him say that, it changed my whole life.
Oh, you're back to the question. That's your thing.
That's my thing.
Say it again.
If someone wrote a book on your life, would anybody want to read it? And I'll never ever forget it. Like it honestly, when I heard it was one of those things that when I heard it, it changed my life. I was like, I just want to make it so that my story is awesome. Every chapter. That there's not too many. You know when you're reading a book and there's those pages where you're like, fuck this next few pages. There's nothing going on here. Like I want to have like a book that's like an enjoyable read from front to back.
I love that.
I'm going to waste too many days.
Write a memoir. That way you'll know. Start typing her up, hon. Actually, one of the questions, okay, so I know we're done.
Start typing it up. Get ChatGPT. Write my memoir.
One of them, okay, I know we're done here, but one of the questions was, imagine you could have a new skill. What would it be? And for me, and I think I could actually maybe somehow make this work, but I think I would really like to write a book.
Oh, you should.
Well,
it would be awesome.
Not about me, like a romance book or something. And I say that because all of school, like my whole schooling life, which as we know, you're in school for a long time. In English, I would always be told that I was writing like it was first person. Like it had to be more, less personal, more regimented and stuff. Yeah. And I never did that. And even in my captions, it's like I'm writing like I'm talking to people. To you rather than,
Lloyd's going to come strutting in here in 2 seconds. I hear him in his food bowl.
Oh, anyway, and I think it'd be so cool to adapt a skill. I mean, there's lots. I'd like to learn how to paint. I'd like to be a good singer. But one that I think could actually be attainable is writing a book. I think I'd love it. I don't know how I'd find the time. I guess I could try and find the time. But I think it's so cool when people like go somewhere. Sit down, get in the environment, hang out in the town, learn about it, and just write a badass book. Yeah. And I'm like, that would be really cool. If I could have a book, that would be something I'd love. In chapters you walk in, there's something by Sheridan goes, oh my God, that would be cool. Yeah. What about you? Any new skill? Before Lloydie comes in?
I don't know. Maybe if I'm just throwing it out there, maybe it's like play the violin.
Matt,
okay, no, he's gonna come in and pull that cord out. Okay, everyone, we love you guys.
Matt, say a skill. What's the first thing? What if there's anything you can learn how to do
if he pulls that cord out, the whole episode's gone. Don't knock that cord out, or the episode's gone.
Just say your skill.
Watch the cord, because if it pulls out, it will delete everything. Meow, episode gone. Lloyd boy, how are ya?
Lloydie
Oh, that was my little boy.
Okay, what's your skill? Listen to him in the camera. Yeah.
Skill. I don't know. I'm trying to think of something. Like, obviously, I'm sitting here. There's not too many things I wish I could do that I don't already do. I mean, maybe it'd be like really good at motocross. It'd be really cool to take one of those dirt bikes and jump like 100 feet in the sky. That'd be kind of cool.
That would be cool for you.
I don't know.
Okay, like and subscribe. Thank you, Lloyd.
Yeah.
Say bye.
Do it. Love you guys. Catch you next week.
It's the Two Gems Podcast.